We are back with those island vibes, strong island vibes. Your boy Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connected. The show's called Long Island Changemakers. And I love, well, since I made up the name, it makes sense, but I love when you can tell what something is right inside the name. Like if somebody was called the nonprofit sector connector, you would know what that would mean. And if you say something's called Long Island Changemakers, it's where you bring on great people doing important work. Sometimes they're in the nonprofit sector, sometimes they're business professionals, sometimes they're business professionals doing really important work in the nonprofit sector, and that's what we got today with my buddy Adam Wood. Adam, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
How are you, man? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
You know what? We met like over a year ago the first time, and it was when your daughter Penny was speaking at an event that was leading up to the LLS Light the Night, but she's a doll, by the way.
Thank you.
And it was like her telling her story, and at that time you were the chair for, to correct me if I'm using the wrong terminology, but you were the chair for Light the Night last year?
Last year I was the chairperson for not Light the Night, but for the Executive Challenge, which is like a sub
another fundraising piece
Light
there.
the Night, exactly.
All right, so we're going to get into LLS, Leukemia Lymphoma Society. We're going to get into Light the Night and things like that because that's very important to talk about. First, I want to talk about you, though. I want to understand, you know, I know a little bit, but these people who are paying attention, they don't know because we were just talking and they didn't hear us.
Sure.
So, you know, your background, like where'd you grow up, the work you've done, you know, your work now in wealth management, and then we'll really get into your philanthropy because that's a big part, I could tell from, you know, our connections that's a big part of what you're into. So why don't you tell me some stories?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, born and raised here on Long Island in a town called Kings Park.
Sure.
We often joke that it's the KP Nation.
That's North Shore, baby, right?
That's right. So KP Nation's great. Everyone in our community has been so supportive of.
Do you ever know a guy named Steve Delora?
Yeah, from Smithtown, right?
I remember him living in Kings Park for a long time. We worked together at ADP for a long time. He was payroll sales. He was like a big boss and stuff like that. But I always remember him claiming Kings Park. So maybe you knew him. So you grew up out there.
Yep. Yeah, my wife also. We both went to high school together.
Okay.
You know, we've been married for going on 18 years now. We have 3 kids, all in Kings Park School District. Lucy, Penelope, and Hunter. You know, I didn't go too far. I went to University of Scranton for undergrad, and came back home. Went to Toro Law Center.
Scranton is they're not Franciscan.
We're Jesuit.
Jesuits, yeah. My buddy Tom Gretsch from the Queen's Chamber of Commerce, he always talks about Scranton. Now Scranton has that other whole thing with, you know, with the office. Right? There was like Scranton was like a whole thing before, you know, Dunder Mifflin came on the scene.
Yeah, for sure. It got way more popular after Michael Scott.
Yes,
crew
100%. Which listen, I love that show, man. It was a funny show. Great show. So you went up to Scranton. What'd you study up there?
I was an English major there at Scranton, graduated, pretty much knew I was going to go to law school.
Oh, that was it? Did you always know you wanted to be an attorney?
Not always that I wanted to be an attorney, but I was always very entrepreneurial, except I couldn't swing a hammer, hang a picture, so it was going to be something in the professional services. So you knew you had to be professional services because you wanted to work for yourself? Yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I graduated from Toro Law Center, got admitted to practice in New York, and pretty quickly thereafter.
Another buddy of mine, Chris Delisle. I don't know if you ever ran into Chris.
I know Chris, yeah.
You know Chris? Yeah, owns Equity Settlement Services. That used to do a lot of work with my brother.
Yeah, their office is right down the road from my current office.
Oh, that's right. You're in Smithtown. Yeah. Were you at Toro at the same time or no?
No, but I came to know his sister Denise very well. She was very helpful to my practice when I started out. Yeah. So I ran an estate planning, business succession planning, and tax planning practice for just about 10 years. Left that in 2019 and went into wealth management. Now I run my own wealth management practice.
What was it there? Why did that change? You know, being on, I mean, listen, I think first of all, you're like a double threat, right? Knowing the law, knowing taxation, and being on the advisory side, that's awesome. What was it? Why the transition?
The realization that I could offer clients solutions that were way more meaningful and deeper than just in the role as an attorney.
Got it.
And
because on the attorney side, you're more like the prep work and letting them understand things, but not using product.
Sure. So the way that I look at it is that A, it's a little bit more transactional on the legal side, right? And B, the implementation of the plan is arguably just as important as the architecture of it.
Yeah.
So I sit in both roles. I work with the clients and their attorneys and their CPAs to create the plan.
And you can speak that language, and then you can implement and bring in products. And then it sounds like if you're talking one is transactional, that tells me the other is relationship driven, right?
100%.
Yeah. So and that's
so I get to work with clients hopefully until I'm not working anymore.
Yeah.
You know, many multi-year engagements with families. So I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. That makes a lot of sense that you would go from one to the other. So you started to tell me before we got started about the work you do with United Veterans Beacon Home. How did you get connected there? And is that the start of your philanthropy, if you will, or the start of your service work?
I thought you were going to ask me that, and it's kind of interesting. I really thought a lot about where this came from in my life.
Okay.
And I think I have to trace it back to when I was growing up. My grandmother was the administrator for St. John Nursing Home.
Okay.
And the nursing home was smaller at the time, again in Kings Park, a long-time Kings Park.
Kings Park Nation. I think I need a shirt, even though I'm not from there. But I'm a North Shore guy now. I grew up in Franklin Square, claiming Glen Head for a long time now, so I'm all about the North Shore. Now again, I'm not really, I'm from Franklin Square, right? I live on the North Shore now, so I like to give the business to the people on the South Shore. And I always go, listen, you know, man, we appreciate the South Shore, because if there wasn't a South Shore, there could be no North Shore.
That's right.
So thanks for being there. People love that. No, they don't.
Right. It's definitely two sides to a coin.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we can go get those T-shirts made up at the South Shore institution.
You know,
we'll give some love.
I love it. You know what's funny? I was just recently. I had on my show Philanthropy in Focus. I had the folks from the Nicholas Center, and they have Spectrum Designs. And Spectrum Designs. Are you familiar with Spectrum Designs?
Them, yes.
They do. They have. They do all sorts of design work, and they have people with intellectual developmental disabilities making T-shirts, doing swag, doing all sorts of stuff, and it's
cool.
You know, listen, I love this nonprofit space. So your grandmother was involved.
So yeah, she was the administrator of this nursing home in Kings Park, and the reason why I kind of trace it back to that time is that they would have a 5K race, they would have a fashion show.
So you saw this
and a
as
bunch
a young
of
person.
Things. And I just assumed this was part of natural life.
What you do. This is like a hobby, a behavior that,
That's right. So my father and I would volunteer to set things up for the race, and then he would go race, and I would hand out water.
Sure. So that's your paradigm. You just knew this is something we do.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I got involved with United Veterans Beacon House when I was practicing law. A good family friend, Jackie Delanardis, who still works for the organization, would introduce some of the veteran clients to me.
Okay.
And I would do estate planning work for them, landlord-tenant work for them. Frank Amalfitano, our CEO, found out that I was doing that work for the clients and brought me in, talked to me, asked me to be part of the organization. So that was about 13 or 14 years ago.
They do great work, man.
Yeah, we're growing. It's a really exciting organization to be involved with. When I started, I want to say we were doing around $3 to $5 million in gross revenue. We're around $25 million in gross revenue now.
Oh my God, that's almost 10x.
Yeah, we have over 50 houses between Nassau and Suffolk on any given night.
You're talking like group home, supportive housing for veterans, right?
That's right, yeah. So we have emergency, transitional, and permanent housing for veterans, men and women, some families. We have some group homes. We have individual homes for clients. We have homes for veterans that have certain disabilities. Some of the houses we've built are in conjunction with United Way.
Yeah,
so they're 100% LEED certified, zero energy houses.
They've done some really great stuff over there at United Way. That's Teresa Regnanti and the team there.
Yeah,
it's
Teresa's
really
a great supporter of ours.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever partnered up with New Ground? Shannon Boyle's organization. Are you familiar with that?
I don't think we have.
We should, maybe Frank knows him, but we should try to make that connection. We'll make the connection either way, because you should definitely know Shannon. New Ground is an organization. They are in Levittown, and they are breaking the cycle of homelessness in the veteran community, which, listen, tragically, I get up on my soapbox. We don't have time for it, but I tend to find it, I get up on that soapbox a lot because, first of all, I don't understand how we have homelessness. I don't understand how we have food insecurity, and I don't mean just on Long Island. I mean on this planet. It's a whole nother thing. if I get going, we're going to be out of show. But then if you take it one step further, and we have our veterans who are homeless, I can't grasp that. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's something I'm like vehemently opposed to sending these boys to war.
Yeah,
I'll just say that, and women, men and women to war. I'm vehemently opposed to that. That being said, how tragic is it that someone might go to another country, fight to protect their home, and then come back there and not have a home to live in? It's absurd.
Yeah. And I don't make assumptions. I'm not a veteran. I didn't serve, but I do spend time with folks and know some stories. And what I have learned is, I think the toughest challenge is the transition. When men and women are coming home, even if it wasn't in a combat situation, and I learned over the years that the majority of folks are not in a combat situation. They serve in different capacities. But they come back and there's not the support, and the transition is not there to help folks get what they need. And I feel like that's the gap. And I've learned that, again, this isn't me saying it, there's veteran friends and colleagues telling me that that's what it is. So what are some of the things you've been involved with that organization?
With the Beacon House? Yeah, so, very early on, we started a gala. There was never a gala before. Tina Safraza and I started working on some of that. We have those United Way homes that we built in partnership with them. That's been amazing. We are currently working on a very ambitious project to build a community center, a Veterans Community Center, and headquarters for United Veterans Beacon House with a campus to hopefully then in phase 2 build an assisted living center for veterans and first responders. You ever do any work with Fred Skanga over at Long Island State Veterans Home? Fred is a very good close friend of the organization. Frank Amalfitano works with him. Have you met with Fred? I don't know if I've ever met with him. We're going to have a lunch or something. Great man. I love him. I've had him on some of the content I've done. I've had him on Philanthropy and Focus. He's been in this work, like he was an EMT, I think, when he was like 16 or 17 years old, and has been in this work serving for his entire career. Just a great man to be connected with. Well, that's the only organization of its kind for veterans, really, that I know of. There's that one, and there's one in Queens on like Farmers Boulevard. It's probably like it's in St. Albans, Queens. But that's it. But those, and I learned this from Fred, and I might make some mistakes with what I'm going to say, but it was President Lincoln who, this is separate from the VA, the Long Island State Veterans Home, and it was put in by President Lincoln. He created these. And I did not know. Yeah, I learned, and I didn't tell the whole story right, I know that, but I'll have to text him later on and remind him how, he can remind me how to tell it. But it's, there's so many organizations that are doing work, and I always find the more we can collaborate and get together and do stuff together, it's just, I always talk about it with networking, 2 + 2 is 4, but not networking. It's some other exponential number, Yeah. So talk to me like about that gala. How did that, is it an annual gala? Yeah, we have we have an annual gala. We have an annual golf outing. The gala has really taken off in the last several years. We just hit our 30th anniversary last year for the Beacon House. And like I said, just growing exponentially year over year. Frank is, he's quite ambitious, so, every board meeting we kind of find out there's another house in the works, or there's another development project in the works. Yeah, it's great. I got some great connections, and actually guys that I was in that golf outing with, I think, some in the, actually somebody we spoke about who's been on this program, my buddy Alex Lipsky, would be a great guy to bring into that. Does a lot of work in the nonprofit space on the construction side. Lipsky, third generation construction company. And we just made some connects, both my business partner and I, for Alex in the nonprofit space. So, I can't help myself, man. Like, I'm trying to do a show and I'm like networking. This is a story of my life. I'm like, hold on, I want to take notes and make sure we send emails. You can't separate yourself from the nonprofit sector connector, right? This is it. It's all I am, man. It's one guy. Whether we're live, we're recording, or at a networking cocktail party, I'm just the same guy. I want to know when you got, so we got the LLS gear on. By the way, I just want to mention this. I don't have a navy blue long sleeve zip up that says Light the Night on it. I'm just putting it out there. So like to the powers that be, Jacqueline and Jenny, I just talked to them yesterday. I don't have one of those zip ups. I'd like to have one of those zip ups. I feel like I have a little bit of juice this year, so I could probably make that happen. See what you. And again, I always say it's not a requirement that people give me gifts, but I like them anyway.
I'm a pretty good billboard. Perfect. So people want to promote things. Actually,
you're always out and about.
100%. So. Vanguard benefits, Hall of Fame award. You know, this is the new stuff we're talking about. That's a whole nother story for another show. But tell me about LLS. How did that become a part of your life and something you're involved with?
Yeah, so back in 2023, my daughter Penelope was diagnosed with leukemia. So she started treating for that immediately, which you have to. So she's been treating for that and just finished up her chemo treatment last month. This month she's going to get her Metaport out, so we're very excited about that. We're very grateful that that all worked out well. Thankfully, she was diagnosed with a very curable and treatable form of leukemia. You still have to go through it though, right? So it's a 2.5 year process.
Sure.
Last year, she was asked by the Leukemia Lymphoma Society to be the honored hero for their Light the Night.
And that's when I met this special kid, man.
That's right.
Yeah, that was. I remember meeting her that night. And she spoke, and you guys had like kind of like a. It was like 1-2 punch. She was telling funny stuff, and then you were kind of just there. I think you're like the butt of most of the jokes. If
100%.
Yeah, I think that's how it went down.
She pulled no punches.
No, she's great, man. That's awesome. Yeah. So right away, I mean, not everybody gets involved in an organization like that when their child has this diagnosis. Was it just automatic for you? It just made sense?
Yeah, there was the first ask that she be the honored hero. And of course we were a little bit, I don't know if nervous is the right word, we had like some trepidation, right? Like you don't want to like thumb your nose in the face of a very serious diagnosis.
Sure, right.
But we talked with Penelope and she really wanted to do it. She wanted to, give hope to people. She wanted to show, what you could do if you were determined to get through it all. And we got behind her to do that. So yes, we wrote, kind of like 1-2 interview type speech to have her deliver, her story, and I think it went very well. Yeah. So after that, Jacqueline and some of the other folks there at LLS asked me to be the chairperson for the executive challenge, which is, similar to the to some of the programs that we were talking about.
Yeah, all like the
business folks.
The man or woman of the year and stuff like that. Yeah, that they've done in the past. Visionary, sure. Yeah, right. So, I think it's always one of these things. Like we all get asked. Well, I don't know if everybody gets, but those of us who are in like community and have some reach and maybe have a following, if you will, get asked to do these things. And I think we have to be mindful about how much we can get involved with. And I mean, I'm a perfect example of I want to do it all, and you can't. That being said, this has obviously become something that's very important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact of the matter is that children's cancer, children's leukemia is treated by and large the same way that it was treated like 15 or 20 years ago. Okay. LLS has focused a good amount of their research on changing that, on figuring out a way to treat children, especially with cancer, in a manner that's not simply like taking an adult dose of chemo and cutting it down for height and weight, giving it to a child.
That's not the appropriate.
It's what they do now, and we witnessed it firsthand what that does. It's like all these terrible chemicals, all the nausea, sickness, trouble sleeping, everything that anybody who's had to deal with those chemotherapies knows. And if we're watching our 9 and 10-year-old daughter go through it, so that was part of it for me. If we were able to do something to help a cause that might in the future change the way that cancer is treated, or they're doing research to hopefully eliminate this altogether. Another thing that I really appreciated was that a lot of the research that LLS conducts can kind of cross over for tumor cancers as well. So it's not just for blood cancers or lymphoma. So I think that they're doing a great job in trying to eradicate the disease and trying to come up with new cures. They also have a platform for financial assistance for families. They have tuition assistance. So we thank God didn't need any financial assistance, and the girls aren't yet ready for college just yet. But you know, all of those things, I think,
it's important for families.
Important.
And you know, I always say this. I got to tell you, man, I'm so focused on what the work that the nonprofit sector does, and you know, my friend Ken Serini founded something called the Long Island Imagine Awards, which about 5 years ago rolled off into the New York City Imagine Awards. And one of the things Ken said is, or says is, can you imagine a world without nonprofits? And I don't want to get on my high horse or make this political, but if it wasn't for the organizations like this that are doing work, a lot of this work doesn't happen, man. It just doesn't. You know, government's not going to get this work done. I don't care if it's red or blue or purple. The government is not where it's the private, you know, it's the nonprofit organizations that do this work that are the ones that need the funding and need the support to make the change. And every single day, nonprofit organizations are making the change. So I can't imagine a world without nonprofits. And I always tell people, look, man, there's three things. I was listening to an interview I was on recently. I was interviewed by, what a funny trip, man. This was like these 4 adults at the Nicholas Center who are on the autism spectrum interviewed me on a show they call Agents of Humanity. And I love saying that, like it's a big movie. And they were just so great, and they just kind of shined a light for me onto all the different things about what we talk about, what nonprofits do. And I kept saying, some of the questions they were asking me, I was just like, without nonprofits, none of these things get done. There's like a missing link without the work that nonprofit organizations are doing, you know?
Absolutely.
So it's so important to continue to focus and raise funds for organizations. So I want to just spin in that direction. I didn't plan on going there yet, but let's kind of do a little bit of a call to action about what's coming up this year for LLS. Ray Schwetz has sat in that seat. My buddy, your friend, Ray Schwetz.
Love Ray.
Very involved. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Jovia, the great work he's done. I mean, he's just, you know, he's a cancer survivor himself, and I love that guy. I mean, he's just like one of the top guys. And he was there, and we talked about some of the upcoming events, but why don't you kind of spit out some ideas, some things where people can get involved and how they can support the organization?
Yeah, so I'm in the same role that Ray sat in last year as the chairperson or the chair for the corporate Light the Night event. That's going to be in October this year at
Tell us about
Eisenhower
Light the
Park.
Night for some folks who may not be aware.
Light the Night is it's an event at Eisenhower. It's around the lake there at Eisenhower Park. So it is very inspirational. The theme is that you get these lanterns, and there's 3 different color lanterns. One represents a survivor, right? So if you're a survivor of cancer, you get a certain color lantern. If you're there to, you know, support or honor someone who's passed away from cancer, you get a different color lantern. And then there's a 3rd one, just, you know, for everyone that's generally there to support the walk. You know, there's some opening remarks, and I'll be in charge of that this year.
Are you?
So
listen, you know what? I'm pretty good at a microphone. So, so if I'm like in the audience, I see you struggling, just kind of wave, Tommy D, I'll come up.
Bring you right up.
I'll say, even if I have to sing for you, I would do whatever.
Anything? I appreciate it.
Anything. You know, I'll tell you though, that stuff is so important to even, you know, be at the front line of that, because it's not about, let's be honest, I play, but it's not about ego. You're up there, you're doing this because it's about lives. The organization is saving lives. So by kicking that off, I'm sure you're going to do a heck of a job, because you're compassionate for sure, but you're also passionate about the work you said that's being done by this organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the event itself is very moving. It's a great you know, time to connect with people, to, you know, see all these folks who have been touched by cancer in some way, shape, or form. And then you kind of take this walk around the lake, and everyone's got the lanterns, and you see all the different colors. It's very moving. It's also, I think, one of the larger fundraising efforts for LLS every year.
So if somebody wants to get involved with that, where would you send them? Where would we send them?
Yeah, so we're actively seeking corporate sponsors. That can just be sponsorship at the event. We're actively seeking corporate and family teams. So if you have any connection to cancer whatsoever.
And who doesn't?
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean,
absolutely. On Long Island here, right?
Especially. And I heard something overnight or on the news or something about it, you know, just something about this island, man. I'm not going to call out companies and things like that, but there's just something about this island, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're touched by it, if you're connected to it in any way.
That's right, yeah. So you can create a corporate team for your employees that can be joined up with a sponsorship or not. You can create a family team. And effectively what you're doing is just raising money in whatever way you can. $5, you know, through a text message campaign from a bunch of different people that adds up. You know, or a $10,000 sponsorship, right?
Why did you point at me when you said $10,000? Were you asking me? And like you, Tommy D, like a $10,000. Thanks for putting me on the spot, man.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, good for you. Always be closing.
That's right.
Always be closing.
That's right.
But look, all kidding, it all adds up. I remember I just went back into my head what I started to tell about Agents of Humanity, and it was about, I brought up on the show with them, time, treasure, talent. And we all have time, treasure, talent. Some of us have less treasure, right? Some of us have less time, but people have talent. They could get involved and they could be a volunteer, right? Like you said, with your grandmother and you and your dad, you're handing out bottles of water. It doesn't take a lot. So I don't buy into the fact that I can't help. That doesn't work for me. I don't believe it, because you don't, I'm not saying everybody can write big checks, right? Sure. Some people can, and apparently I can write a $10,000 check. But it's people can get involved, and there's so many ways. So time being just like it sounds, get involved, volunteer, treasure being those funds, and your talent. You might be able to build a house, right? Somebody else might be able to be in the park for an event and cook off, 250 cheeseburgers, whatever that is, whatever your skill set is, it's very important. I want to just ask you, because we're almost out of time here, but for your future in working with this organization, as you do this big event in October, and then do you see yourself continuing to be involved with LLS?
Yeah, I see myself continuing to be involved with the organization. So Ray is the chairperson emeritus this year, helping me out a lot, showing me the ropes. I appreciate that.
He's such a good man.
I plan to do that next year. I don't know how well I'll do in helping people navigate the ropes.
Keep him with you.
That's a good point.
With you. So you got 2 chairmen emeritus, and then you got.
That's a good point.
Yeah, listen, I can teach you a couple of things, man. This is not just a place I keep my hat.
I got you. I got you. So yeah, as long as they're doing this type of work, my family and I will be involved in some way, shape, or form.
Because you were so impacted by this work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
My wife and I started a small charitable organization so that we could hold some of the events for.
I love that.
Like the night last year, we'll be doing a couple of good.
Well, you got to let me know, man, if you guys are at the point where you want to be featured on Philanthropy in Focus and have that discussion. We'll just give us more time to hang out, but you come on the show and if you have events or whatever, you have to let me know, and I'm happy to come out and support any of that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming through, man. This is so good. There's a couple of guests that I have waiting to come on this show right after this, and I have to get to these 2 girls to come on the show.
Very important.
So they're very important. So we got to move this along right now. But thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very, very, very good. This show, I tell you guys all the time, the show is called Long Island Changemakers. I gotta be honest, it's a little bit of a selfish show because I get to hang out with cool people doing really important work. And, listen, I'm Tommy D and it's in the title, so I have to show up every time we do it too. This has been another In Focus production. Make it a great day. See you all. Bye now. I'll see you.